Hi, I'm Kat, and today I'm showing you how to make these cute little miniature pies for your Thanksgiving dollhouse. Hope you enjoy. I'm making pie crust for this video first, and first I'm going to make a tin. Only thing I had available was some scrap foil from a Chinese takeout meal, so I'm going to straighten that up with a heavy glass jar, or heavy glass cup. Once I had it smoothed out, I'm using a disc that I made for another project, and this is just made out of scrap clay. And I'm going to lay that down and put the foil on top of it, and just pinch around with my fingers to put the foil in place. Now this foil is pretty thick, so I'm going to use my large white ball tool and press it all along the bottom. And then I have a good shape and I can cut it out. Now I'm making 3 pies, so I'm going to make 3 crusts. And I'm using translucent brown and yellow clay. And just like a real pie crust, I'm going to put that on a little bit of flour and roll it out until I have it thin enough to go into the pie pan. Then I'm using brown, translucent, and yellow for pecan pie, yellow, orange, and brown and translucent for pumpkin pie, and yellow and translucent for apple pie. Starting with the pecan first, I just pressed it flat and put that into the bottom of my pie crust. And then I'm making little logs to replicate pecans by using some of the leftover dough and coating it with orange chalk pastel and a little brown as well. Once you have them coated, you can cut them up and then pre-bake them. Now I'm going to use a little liquid clay, brown, yellow, and a tiny bit of orange pastels, and then mix that with the chopped up pecans. You can also make whole pecans using the same technique that I showed you in my red velvet cake video, and I'll put the link for that video in the description box. But I just used the pecan pieces, and then I made a few more pecans, whole pecans, to put on the top. And just put those on top of pecan pie, cut out a small slice, and make sure you have them on top of the slice as well. Then using your needle tool, you can texture on the inside. Now, you don't have to worry too much about texturing the actual filling of this, because the filling for pecan pie is fairly smooth, but you can use a stiff brush if you'd like to give that a little more variation. And then finally, I'm using a small scrap of the dough, and I rolled it into a snake, and then I wrapped it around the edge of the pie as a crust. And then using another ball tool, I'm just crimping it slightly with it. Add a little texture with a stiff brush again, a toothbrush, or in this case I'm using a throwaway scrap brush that was a cheapy little one from Walmart. For the apple pie, I'm cutting out a slice from a piece of dough that's a little bit bigger than the actual slice will be. And then I'm using the pieces of yellow and translucent and cutting them up into small little chunks. Then I mixed up some liquid clay with yellow and orange chalk pastels and then mixing my apples into that, and then putting them on the top layer of my pie. Now I'm going to cut out a piece for a slice, and I'm going to actually cut out a thin slice, thinner than the actual crust is. So you'll see that the crust is still protruding from the side of the pie, and that's because I'm going to put some apples along the side, and I don't want them to overrun the crust. And if you want to make a small slice with the piece of crust that you cut out, you could do so like I'm doing here. And then don't forget to put your apples along the sides of the pie. And I'm making a lattice crust for this. So thin straight sheets of the dough rolled out. And then just lay them on the pie in strips. Now you make the lattice the way you would a real lattice pie crust by folding back alternating pieces and putting another strip going crosswise on it. And then lay back the opposite pieces and then put another strip on going crossways. Finally, you can pinch off the excess pieces of lattice using the sides of the aluminum. Make a small piece to come out of it if you want one on the plate. And then add a crust. For the pumpkin, I'm using the lightest shade of the orange that I made. And this is orange, brown, translucent, and then a slightly darker shade that I pressed into a thin sheet and laid it on top. Cut off the excess, and then finally the darker color goes at the top, and it goes on in the same manner. Use your ball tool to press that into the crust. And then I wanted to use the smallest ball tool to add a little distinction where the crust ends and the pie starts. And then also I circled the ball tool around the inside of the pie, and that just gave it the settled appearance that it gets when it's been baking, to draw in any sort of little cracks or crevices in the pie. And then I'm using a makeup sponge to add a little texture. And I'm also using some of my leftover apple pie filling, just the liquid clay part, to brush along the sides and to fill in all the little pieces of cracks, because this looks like some of the liquid came up and seeped out. And again, I'm using my throwaway brush to blend that in and to add a little texture. Bake the pies, and then you can use a little bit of brown and yellow and orange paint if you'd like to accentuate any of the different parts, just to give it a slightly more golden brown toasted appearance. And that's it. You're done. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.